Hello and welcome to Pacific Dialogue. I'm Zihui. In today's China-U.S. relations, the steady work of local leaders is more and more crucial than ever before, and these subnational communications are building real bridges of cooperation, from trade to culture. We are truly honored today to be joined by Mr. Marc Elrich, the County Executive of Montgomery County, Maryland. Welcome, Mr. Elrich. Thanks for your time. And we know your county is not only just like a national leader in science and technology, but also has set ambitious goals for the sustainable future. Yes. So I'm just wondering what makes this kind of communication, local communication, more and more resilient and effective for both of our peoples?
I think because you expect certain protocols with government. When people are people, there's fewer protocols. You talk more frankly. You're not worried about a government policy. You're just trying to understand somebody. You're trying to talk about a particular problem, but you don't have an agenda behind your discussion. So I think when you don't have an agenda, conversations are easier. Mm-hmm. The cities I've been to Xi'an last year, and Shanghai and Shenzhen, and we've been in Shanghai, Shenzhen, Hangzhou this year. All of them show lots of companies that are seriously engaged in innovation, whether it's robotics, which is a really impressive stage of development here, other life sciences research, where there's been a real change in focus of biomedical research here, increasingly into discovery. We can see that, and it's evident the amount of investment that's gone into your universities and your technical facilities to enable this kind of growth and development.
Could you elaborate on the current stage and highlights of this mutually beneficial cooperation between China and Maryland?
We had a long conversation yesterday with an industrial association that is interested in expanding and a presence in the United States. So those are the conversations we're having, trying to understand where people see opportunities and what we as a county can do to facilitate an opportunity. For us, the benefit obviously is it creates more jobs and it provides better service for businesses in our county, or businesses in the country, frankly. And so it's mutually beneficial for both the Chinese companies and for us. Climate change, because you take it very seriously here. You can't look around and not notice all the progress you're making. My county has one of the most aggressive climate change agendas in the country. We're limited a little bit by resources in terms of how fast we can do things, also limited by technology. So we know there are some problems we want to solve. We don't necessarily have the solutions. So one of the things that I come over for is to talk to people about how are you solving a problem over here, to see if there's something to learn from how do you solve a problem over here. I think they evolve when people decide they've got common interests. I mean, for us, we're trying to answer questions. And so coming here and talking to people who have answered those questions or worked in those questions.
So like many regions, Maryland has undoubtedly felt the impact of broader China-U.S. trade dynamics. So could you share which local industry have been particularly affected?
So our farmers are a little bit affected. We're not a major agricultural center, but we have a third of the county is in agriculture. Some of the crops no longer have a market here. So that obviously affects them. I think that we're still waiting to see the effect of tariffs. The price increases have not fully made their way through the supply chain, so we're not seeing everything yet, but we know there's an anticipation that inflation will be driven upward by the impact of tariffs, and that will affect industries. Companies that may not be allowed to have partnerships or further partnerships would be hurt by that. So we're just at the stage right now of trying to monitor what's happening, and we pay attention to the data. We're actually more damaged by some of the domestic policy than the international policy of our country. That's had serious impacts, or will have serious impacts on our economy. And like everybody else, people are looking at the rising prices of food. We were hoping that agricultural exchange would increase supply and keep market under more control. Shortages obviously drive prices.
And just a few days ago, the fifth round of China-U.S. economic and trade talks just concluded. How do you assess this kind of dialogue, like the outcomes?
I think it's important that we normalize and stabilize trade agreements. No one wants to do business in an uncertain world. And you don't want to make a business agreement and then discover that the rules change. So we need to go back to reliable rules where everybody plays by the same rules, everybody understands this is the boundaries that we're going to work in, these are what we accept as the costs, and that it's predictable. You're not going to make an investment if it's not predictable what you're going to be able to do with your investment. It's true for an American company, and it's true for a Chinese company. So getting to normal and getting to mutual cooperation is, in my mind, where I'd like to see all this go.
And Mr. Elrich, you mentioned that you are looking forward to to find some partnership in China.
Yes, we're going to be meeting with, as I said, an industrial group. They're going to be visiting us in March, and they're going to lay out what they want to do. If we can connect them with that, we believe that we're going to be able to see progress, and it's important for them. If we'd stayed home, we never would have had that opportunity. Being able to come here, sit in the room and have a meeting with somebody face to face, where you talk about this is what I can do, what do you need, is the way, in my mind, it's the way you negotiate. It's the way you see if you can get to a solution that's mutually beneficial. So being able to come here and have these conversations directly, I think is very helpful.
Is this kind of conversation difficult?
No, I mean, I think all of us have similar interests. I don't find that difficult. I mean, I think it's because everybody's transparent. There's no hidden agenda. There's no other thing that nobody sees that we're trying to accomplish. Whatever we're trying to accomplish is flat out in the open, as is the things that they're looking for. It's all very clear. It's all very direct.
You mentioned the system. What is an ideal system for the common interest and the trade talk between the two countries?
I understand the role of tariffs. Tariffs done excessively are not helpful because it leads to retaliation. People have lived with tariffs for a long time, and it didn't cause a major rupture in relationship. And so setting tariff levels at a point where everybody can continue to do business and that there's not an effort to exclude somebody or put somebody at a disadvantage. I think it's hard to get to agreement if the parties try to put somebody else at a disadvantage. If everybody understands that you have interests and we have interests and that both of us are responsible to our constituents to provide opportunities for growth and to be responsible. If we accept that both of us have that responsibility, then you should be able to come to understanding of each other's needs and find ways to balance your trade in a way that it works for both of us. We've done that for a long time. So there's not exactly a reason for not being able to continue to do that.
So for you, sir, does your life affected by the tariff?
Not yet.
Not yet?
I mean, I joke around, I tell my friends, I've got the stereo system I want, I got the phone I want, I have all the day-to-day comforts I want. So I'm not as much affected by it. But a lot of people will be, and a lot of industries will be. And when industries are affected, their employees will be affected. And so destabilizing the economy and destabilizing the job market ultimately means the government has to spend money trying to help people instead of being able to spend the money to invest. And how do you move the system forward? You're just trying to stabilize a bad situation and eliminate people's pain. I would rather that people didn't have pain so we could focus investments on how we move forward.
Seems like a heavy responsibility for you. So confident for the future or optimistic?
I think in the end things will work out because an unstable situation doesn't help anybody. And what we've seen is a lot of global resistance. I mean, this isn't just China's disagreement with the United States. It's other people's disagreements with the United States. There was a letter the Mexican ambassador wrote right after he announced some extreme tariffs. And the point of her letter was there are 7 billion people outside the United States. So if they don't want to trade with us, we can find other people to trade with. And I think that's the reality of the situation is all of us have choices of multiple partners. And if we put up barriers between ourselves and partners, somebody else is going to want that partner. And if somebody else doesn't put up barriers, they may become a more attractive partner. So it's not in our interest to be an unattractive partner because people will find other partners. I'd prefer that everybody traded with everybody and everybody had a common set of rules so nobody felt they were being taken advantage of.